Every hooper wants to be shifty. It's the best way to get a highlight, makes it easier to get past defenders and create good shots for your teammates. And let's be honest, it just looks cool, makes people think you can really play. But most of us haven't taken the time to break down what it actually means, and more importantly, how do you become shifty? Well, in the last few months I set out to not only learn the details, but practice some drills and habits that I've learned to see if it makes a difference in my game. Before I get to it, I need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am overweight, and I know that'll be the biggest factor in me improving my quickness, so I'm working on that as well. But footwork and building the foundation will definitely help me the most, so I'll be doing that throughout the process. If anything, if I can become quicker at my size, that'll just prove how effective the methods really are. Alright, let's get shifty. Before we get into the progress, I just want to establish a baseline so you guys can see where I started. I'm gonna be straight up, my footwork was horrendous when I started this journey. My steps weren't efficient, I was creating very little space, there was very little lateral movement, and I straight up just moved slow. The only reason I'm able to get to the basket sometimes is just because I can shoot so well, so people have to respect that. It's funny how at the time I thought I was moving well, but now in retrospect I can see how bad it was. But it's all just part of the process. I'm sure I'll say the same thing to myself later on. It's also just the beauty of the sport. There are so many elements to basketball that you can work on and improve on. And they all compound, they all come together. The more you can do, the more efficient you can become as a scorer. That's why I started this journey. I want to be an overall good basketball player. And I haven't mastered shooting by any means, but I'm pretty good at that. The better I get as a ball handler, the easier it will be to get open shots. And once I get that to a good level, I can keep layering and adding on different aspects to my game. It's almost like puzzle pieces, and the more of them you put together, the more of the picture you start to see. Before I can become shifty, I need to develop a sharp handle. I can't sell a move or get by anyone if I lose the ball every time I try to go full speed. I know I still have a long way to go, but I've noticed some pretty significant improvements in my handle over the last few months from repping out these drills almost daily. I'm losing the ball a lot less, and I'm transferring the ball from hand to hand a lot quicker. I'm even getting more confident attacking off the dribble in my men's league games. It hasn't been anything fancy, just basic crossovers between the legs and behind the back, but doing it at different cadences and snapping the ball at a speed that challenges me has still been enough for me to see some real progress. I think the biggest part is that I've just been consistent with it. From the research I've done, shiftiness is determined by two factors: deception and pace. Deception is how well you can fake out the defender before doing your actual move. This includes head fakes, using your eyes to look off a defender before countering, and most importantly, footwork. A step back isn't going to be as effective if my setup doesn't look like I'm going to drive. This is something I really struggle with, telegraphing my moves and not selling the initial move hard enough. Same goes for other common moves like in and outs and hesitations. I need to get better at shifting my body weight and moving my feet properly to sell the moves. Alright, now let's talk about pace. My understanding of pace is the ability to go from slow to fast and vice versa in a smooth, efficient manner. I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit, but this has been a long process. I can't tell you how many times in workouts with Journey that he just told me I look stiff. Standing too upright when I'm supposed to be a little lower, getting too low when I'm supposed to be upright. Just things like that, just knowing when to be in what position. And also just the cadence at which I change speeds. In order for it to be deceptive, you can't telegraph when you're going to change speeds. This is still definitely a work in progress for me, and I honestly don't know how long it's going to take me to get it down. Learning how to change pace properly has probably been the most difficult thing I've done since I changed my shooting form. Trying to get down the proper foot placement and the fluidity has been a real challenge, but it's been a lot of fun, and when I start to see progress in games, it's been really rewarding. And I've only really been learning for the last few months. If I do this for a whole year, I can only imagine where I'll be at. We're about to hit our second workout of the day, hit some dribbling, maybe do a little bit of finishing, just have some fun with it. I had to get up at 5 this morning and went to bed at about 11, so I only had 6 hours of sleep. Felt horrible. I really did not want to go, but also felt like I didn't have a choice. Rolled my ankle earlier in the week, and so I didn't touch a basketball for like 3 days. The last thing I wanted to do was miss another day of going to the gym, so still got it in this morning. The routine, I mean, it's only been a couple days since I got back into it after having a few days off, but even while I was off, I still did my best to just stay active and just do whatever I could. So the colder months are definitely more difficult than the summer months, and the fact that it is more difficult and it's cold and I'm underslept and whatever, all these things in my head, all these reasons why or excuses, and I decide not to, and I still put in the work anyway. That's just something about that makes me proud of myself. There's definitely something important about sticking to something and keeping your word that I value, and I want to be better about maintaining that. All right, that's enough yapping. I'm wasting time. Let's get to work. A lot of people have said my videos give them a 10,000 hours vibe, and I definitely take that as a huge compliment. Dev is one of my biggest basketball inspirations, and I've learned so much from him over the years. But I think the biggest thing that I've gotten is the concept of 10,000 hours. The idea is that it takes 10,000 hours to master any skill. If you think about it, it's really an unfathomable amount of time. In order to get to 10,000 hours, you need to work at something for almost 3 hours a day without missing any days for a whole decade. But from what I've seen and been told from people that play out at a high level, it makes sense. Everybody who's played college or professionally has thousands of hours in the gym. And I know for me to get my handle to where I want it to be, I'm gonna need hundreds, if not thousands more hours than I already have put in. Skill development just takes time. It takes a lot of work on a consistent basis. But I think that's the trick. The people that get to that level don't see it as work, or at least they reach a point where they no longer see it as work. I know for me, it was just so much more fun to shoot the ball than it was to do dribbling drills. That's why I worked on shooting so much more than I do dribbling. And it really wasn't until I moved over a year ago that I really started working on my handle. It's just a lot harder to get shots up where I live now. It's windy on most days, the winters are colder, and the gyms are further away. But as long as you have a ground and a basketball, you can always work on your handle. And I hated it at first. It's more tiring than shooting, and just wasn't as rewarding for me. But as the weeks and the months stacked up, I started to enjoy it more. I started to realize that I didn't just like shooting. I liked the feeling of getting better. And shooting the basketball just gives you that reward quicker. You can physically see the shots going in. With dribbling, it doesn't exactly work like that. I think it takes more time before you start to really see the differences. But I was able to stick through it and get to a point where I can start seeing progress, and now it's fun for me. Also, just playing games consistently and having something to look forward to, having a reason to sharpen my skills has been a big source of motivation. Even before the men's league, I still played pickup basketball almost every Saturday, and I will continue to play when the men's league is over. Sure, the stakes aren't as high in pickup basketball, but my competitive nature wants me to play well. And in order to play well, I have to make sure my skills stay sharp and I keep improving. And to be completely honest, me even making these videos is a source of motivation. It gives me an extra layer of accountability. If I don't put in the work, I don't have anything to record. And if I'm not getting better, then you guys will see that. I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for y'all too. So let's keep working and let's keep getting better.